so hot out here. Ah, God, how do I beat this heat? Oh, man, it's so hot. God, how do I beat this heat?
What?
Oh, man, it's so hot out here.
Hey,
Huh?
you should come inside
Inside?
and watch some scary movies.
Watch a movie?
Go inside and watch some scary movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, okay. Guess I'll go inside and watch a movie. It's really hot out, and there's not a better way to beat the heat this summer than staying inside and chilling out with a good horror movie. Add in some popcorn and a blaring AC unit, you've got yourself a rip-roaring good time. So let's go through a list of some absolute chillers that we here at Curtis Reviews recommend to help you stay cool and spooky this summer. Before we get started, don't forget to stab that subscribe button and pound the like. Every little bit counts, and we really appreciate your help. Now, let's get into it. Tourist Trap, 1979. David Schmoller directs this cute little Goosebumps-esque mannequin horror movie. When five folks pull off the highway after popping a tire, heat waves shimmering in the distance, they happen upon a tourist trap that is more than meets the eye. Having also worked on Puppet Master, Schmoller's coy little stinger of a horror movie will sneak up on you with how compelling it can be. The cast of guys and gals are mostly fodder for the killer, but the actors are just charming and likable enough for us to care about them. While the killer reveal is a bit shallow, the journey to the killer is what's really fun. This is a funhouse movie, and it's fun to unravel its intriguing layers, even if the script and writing leave a lot to be desired. We explore abandoned rest stops and mansions filled with creepy dolls who may be more alive than you think. There are some surprising and breathtaking shots in this film, one in particular with the white dress-clad Molly, backed by gorgeous lighting, blue and black, as the killer chases her through the woods. The score by Pino Donaggio, known for his work with Brian De Palma, aids even further in creating a cool vibe. It feels like summer, most importantly. There's swimming holes, old southern hokies, water moccasins, and of course, lots of cold beer. That's right, we got a Hamm's beer alert. Somehow this movie is rated PG, so technically you could throw this on with the kiddos. Be warned, there may be some imagery that could spook them before bed, but that's part of the fun. Friday the 13th, Part 2. 1981. Picking up shortly after the first film, Friday the 13th is as icy as slashers come. While not my personal favorite of the movies, with Final Chapter taking that slot, this one felt a little more right on this list and is right under Final Chapter as one of my favorites. This is before Jason gets the iconic hockey mask, so it's got a campy quality that is perfect for the summer. He's just running around with a bag on his head. And yet, the movie remains pretty freaking terrifying throughout. Harry Manfredini's score is synonymous with eerie summer moods and perfectly complements staying inside on a hot day. It doesn't hurt that it takes place lakeside at a summer camp. Severed heads and excellent kills help to further the fun of the movie, but as mentioned previously, Jason is out for blood in this one. As the film amps up to the climax in the shed, we see Jason's altar to his mother, Pamela. I love the set design here, disgusting, dirty, and downright ugly scary. In one of the most frightening shots of the movie, we see Jason through a window of the shack running full speed towards our final girl, Jenny. I remember the first time seeing that getting a viscerally sick feeling in my stomach. With plenty of what you want from this quintessential slasher, Friday the 13th Part 2 aims to please and stab you to death. The franchise has its highs and lows, but this is definitely one of the highs. In fact, it's got such a stone cold killer vibe, you may want to throw on Pamela Voorhees' sweater just like Jenny does in the film. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974. What else is there to say? It's Tobe Hooper's masterpiece. I haven't seen all of his movies, but this is my favorite of his films. It's lauded as a masterwork for a reason. 83 minutes of bleak, brute force terror. It's subtle, understated, and screaming. Underneath the summer sun, a bus full of 5 teens stop to check out their family's gravestone to check it's been undisturbed after the recent news headline. It hasn't, with the wish they never stopped in the first place. Shots of the deserted highways, gas stations, and transient liminal locations. The windmill shots in the movie specifically stick out as crucial to the overall tone of the film. Seemingly normal, working class people can become disturbing, crazed killers. It's depraved,
but we love them for it. And it's also about family, which is pretty summery, right? Our final girl, Sally's strapped to a chair, forced to watch the Chainsaw family wheel Grandpa over to suck on her youthful flesh. Adrenaline shoots through your veins as Sally wrenches free from the old house, screaming for dear life. And as you watch her hop into the truck bed covered in blood, Leatherface proceeds to follow the chainsaw in circles through the air, lost in a long, arduous, and passionate daydream. Sally escapes, but the horror she and the viewer is left with sits with you forever. And on second thought, this may work better as a double feature with the follow-up, Texas Chainsaw 2. That said, Texas Chainsaw 1 is truly one of the best horror movies ever made and stands as an example of why a perfect movie can be 83 minutes. Tobe Hooper truly shot his shot here. And while some of his future work is incredible, the heights here are intoxicating. The Chainsaw family will chew the fat with you and likely toss you a cold Hamm's beer before they finish whetting their appetites and sharpening their blades. Braindead/Dead Alive, 1992. I remember watching Braindead in a college cult horror class and really falling in love with it. What's really intriguing is that this goopy, disgusting movie was directed by Peter Jackson, who would go on to direct the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Just like Frodo and Sam.
Just another reason that cutting your teeth on horror often makes the best directors. Touted as a zombie comedy splatter film, it definitely lives up to that and more. Basically, a Sumatran rat monkey finds its way to the Wellington Zoo in New Zealand, and after a scientific expedition goes awry and hell breaks loose from there. Our main character Lionel lives with his domineering mother Vera in a Victorian mansion nearby. She doesn't like the woman Lionel is taken with, follows him to the zoo, and you can probably guess what happens next. Yeah, this movie's batshit insane, truly. Some of the imagery on display is Freudian, which feels dismissive in how it can accurately capture what Jackson puts on screen here for us viewers. It's silly, in a similar vein to Evil Dead 2, which just barely missed the mark for this list, and is very often a funny movie. Tonally, this falls in line with movies like Cabin in the Woods and Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, but manages to attain new heights as a sublimely gross experience. It's set during the summer, and zombie movies always deserve a place on summer horror lists. You may not be able to keep your popcorn and soda down while watching it, but it could very well keep you planted in your seat in front of a box fan with your feet kicked up. Zombie, originally titled Zombie 2 or Zombie Flesh Eaters, 1979. Lucio Fulci's beachy, dreamy zombie romp, Zombie, amongst other titles, must absolutely be viewed if you haven't seen it already. Fulci remains up there for one of my favorite horror directors, maintaining a specific hue, color, and tone that I've never seen achieved by other directors. A defining member of the Italian giallo film genre, he is singular, and his movies must be seen to be influenced by his strange power. Fulci's storytelling is somewhat unconventional, but that's not what this movie is about. Fulci's movies are often more vibe, and their substance comes from how they feel and thus how they make the audience feel. The cinematography and style is what should be appreciated in Zombie, and most likely why you'll want to watch Zombie again right after you finish it. Get past the crappy dub, it's not that big of a deal, you big crybabies. Essentially, scientific research sends two people, the scientist's daughter and journalist, to investigate the strange illness that the scientist has contracted from his work on the island of Matul. Surprise, this is a zombie movie, and there's lots of excellent, bonkers zombie action. There's an underwater scene that plays in my head all the time. There's a scene where a zombie fights a shark. Fabio Frizzi's soundtrack is perfectly vibey, pulsing bass and glitzy synth tones to really pull you in. Everything feels grimy, even when you're gazing into the clear, crisp waters of the Caribbean. As the sun beats down on our characters, death and sickness are everywhere around. Fulci's movies work best if you let them wash over you like the cool lap of water from the shore. I urge you, if you only watch one of the movies on this list, let it be Zombie. It's such a fun film and will expand your ideas of what horror can be. It can be silly at times, but that's part of its campy charm. Plus, if you love kills and gore, Zombie has that in spades. That crisp giallo blood will perfectly quench that horror thirst you have this summer. Maxxine, 2024.
Maxxine is definitely the newest film on this list, and I really wanted to strike while the iron's hot with this one. For all of the reasons that I love the films previously mentioned in this video, I love Maxxine. While not a perfect movie, it manages to achieve its main goal sufficiently. The finale of Ty West's X trilogy of films, along with X and Pearl, Maxxine ties a nice bow on what director Ty West and Mia Goth set out to do here. It captures that 80s sleaze that I have found to be one of the more alluring and comforting aspects of cinema history, especially with horror cinema and B movies. The premise is simple. Maxine Minks, a former porn star, though I question the former part of that as the movie goes on, wants to be a star. She ends up landing a starring role in the upcoming sequel to the hit movie The Puritan, and begins her tutelage under director Elizabeth Bender, played by Elizabeth Debicki. However, Maxine struggles to shake her troubled past as they come creeping in just as she has gotten a true taste of stardom.
The movie is less horror, more crime drama, but I'd go so far as to call it a love letter film. It's an ode to the movies that Ty West & Co. grew up admiring and continue to admire. It's coded in all of the things some of the best horror movies and B-movies of the past were covered in. It feels comforting and welcoming, like a warm hug. When we go into the VHS store run by Moses Sumney's Leon, we want to live in those corridors of VHS tapes. I long to smell the wall of fetish items and embrace the VHS slipcovers of old. The film never feels lost in time, however, embracing a modern approach that keeps it appealing as a modern horror gem. The movie's brisk with incredible editing. There's never a lull in the thing, and it really only lost my attention 1 or 2 times. It didn't go in the direction I wanted it to, but where it ended up worked just as well for me. The costume, set, and gore design are all top-notch and definitely the best part of the movie. All the kills are incredibly well designed, with the blood the perfect tinge of giallo red that we've come to appreciate from directors like Dario Argento and the aforementioned Lucio Fulci. This movie also feels a lot like those Italian horror flicks. The colors, the strong emotional characterization, and the somewhat off-kilter storytelling. There's also flickers of homage being paid to slashers and the ever-present Reagan-era satanic panic vibe in the background. We love Maxxine almost from the get-go, and whether that's due to her performance in Pearl or that we've just grown to love the character, she becomes larger than life on the big screen.
That's the allure of Hollywood and star power, another big tentpole message of this movie. And I do appreciate a good movie set in Hollywood, a favored backdrop for many of my favorite films. Maxxine's upbringing by her father, based in the teachings of what we can assume to be an evangelical church. She learned from a very young age that there is no room for error. She had to be perfect in every way, an often unattainable goal for anyone, but especially a woman and in America. And yet, as the childhood Maxxine learns the ebb and flow, the give and take of the camera lens, we see that she is constantly held and coveted in the iris of every man, and sometimes woman, that she comes across. It's only natural that she was led down the path she went on. It wasn't the hippies of the 60s and 70s or the satanic cults that led her astray. It was the church. As I was writing the script for this video, it became more and more apparent to me that Ty West really tried to pack a lot of shit into this script and is really the only glaring error in the movie. It is still so good and my favorite of the trilogy. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite stick the landing as well as it could based on all the ideas and plot threads that were seeded throughout the movie. The creative process, confidence, being a woman in the world, being a woman in Hollywood, being a woman in general, violence and gore, exploitation, women directing horror, the brief glimpse of a chance that anyone can get from working in the movies. That blip of a message is so intoxicating, but when we're left chasing so many different threads, it all kind of falls flat. Luckily, Maxxine's greatest qualities help it to maintain momentum and really become a great movie, even giving us an ending that adds a quite delicious meta quality to it that appeal to my personal sensibilities. While the ending of Pearl was bleak and hauntingly beautiful, Maxxine asks a deeper and more subtle question. What lengths will you go to only be a blip on the radar? A forgotten, beautiful plaster cast of a head?
But even that goes against what the film seems to exude. Total and utter confidence. That, plus the editing, are what makes it feel like a total chugger. You just feel huge when you leave the theater. Maxxine's work ethic and emotion are addictive. You want to be just like her. I was blessed to have a pretty awesome theater experience for this too. After a certain ball breaker of a scene, myself and my group of friends couldn't help but laugh in response to the sheer glorious gore on the screen. As the laughter subsided, a woman in the back row uttered matter-of-fact, "Jesus Christ!"
Jesus Christ!
in response to what had just happened on screen. More laughter. Personality can go a long way in a movie. Whereas X lacked that quality, it did have the slime and ooze beckoning to its grindhouse roots. Pearl was Technicolor Disney-tinged terror, confining and suffocating. Maxxine is glitter. You will never be able to wash it off your skin no matter how hard you scrub. And while there is a part of me that wants to pick it apart, I believe it will go down as not just Ty West's best movie, but as one of the best horror movies of the 2020s. It's also got apt timing as we approach a pivotal election cycle that could very well put into question whether or not we will continue to get movies and characters on screen like Maxxine Minx. Whether that was intentional or not, it adds an immediately timeless quality to Maxxine, and I can see midnight showings of this happening in the near and far future. Maxxine is a stone cold chiller and something you should immediately get out to the theater to support.
And there you have it, 6 chiller horror movies to help you beat the heat this summer. Now more than ever, we need a reason to stay inside and cool out. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. We are still trying to hit our subscriber milestone of 300 subscribers. Every little bit counts, and thank you so much for watching. Comment below your favorite summer horror movie so that I have something new to check out while I lounge on the couch the rest of this summer. Until next time, stay cool out there. Don't forget to believe in yourselves, and remember, we are all Maxxine fucking minks. Peace.